What's up? It's your boy, the Shirtless Coder, coming at you with actually a tutorial today. So, I have been trying to explore some other project ideas, but before I get into that, yes, my setup is completely different. It's because my computer right now is a bit cooked. So, I'm on my laptop, different setting, but let's get into it anyways. Because I've been working on this for the past couple of hours, and I thought it would be good to just have a tutorial on this. So for context, I use what's called, oh my god, you're gonna see a bunch of shit. Oh my god. Bro. Okay. I use what is called WSL, okay? And I wanted to work on a project where I use Rust to actually run a Android app or an iOS app. And so I actually found what's called Dioxus. So Dioxus basically allows you to build, like, what is Dioxus? Okay, so essentially it allows you to build multi-platform code. So web, Android, iOS, and I can kind of use my own custom styling. I think it's kind of nicer than using other stacks, and I can just use Rust code. From what I've seen from this, it also has like hot reloading, so it's pretty nice, and the syntax looks really cool. So one problem that I ran into though, oh, sorry, before I get into that, it actually has this really cool command line to actually do things. So I can like serve, create a new project, build, doctor, and stuff like that. And it has its own templating that you can do with dioxus.toml. I'm not really going to get into that. The biggest thing that I always had trouble in is how do I run an emulator through WSL? Because one thing that is kind of difficult is WSL doesn't really work nicely with displays and emulation. It's pretty annoying. So you can see I have Windows and I have Ubuntu on here. Now, just to understand how to set this up, I downloaded Android Studio on my WSL. So you can see that here. So I have the SDK here. And I can run Android Studio 3 here. Now, what I did also... Oh, we'll go and show the SDK. And it needs like an NDK as well. So I made sure then to set up this file. So I have like for Android targets, I have pointing to my SDK or my NDK and the SDK for linker. I also made sure to set up some environment variables. So you can actually see that I have, hopefully there's something like, okay, damaging here. Anyways, so you can see I actually am using my on machine like SDK here on the WSL, and I'm using this version, which is going to be different than the Windows one. However, one thing that is really that I just did is I'm actually going to do the socket server is going to be this. So what ADB does, I think it's like Android device something, I actually don't remember. But you can see I can start the server here and, oh, oops, I need to kill any of the additional ones. Okay, so when I start the server here, oh, why did it stop? Maybe... Not sure why it stopped. Okay. Might already be running. I don't know if there's like... Oh, I think there's like multiple. I don't know. Okay. Anyways. So you can see it's running. So this socket, basically I'm saying like look here, and I got my like IP and stuff like that, the local IP address. Okay, so when I go to here, and you can see I have this like device running actually on my Windows machine. So this is ran through Windows. I opened it up that way. It actually has a different SDK and some different NDK, but that isn't really super important. Because what is important is you can see like when I do this, if I do devices, I can actually see this one currently running. The one that's running on Windows right now. And that's super important because as a result, now with Dioxus, I can do this. And this might take some time. This took me a long time to figure out because it's really annoying. Because, yeah, it just... And this might take some time too. But it should find it. Especially if the ADB can find it. Yeah, see, here you go. Right here. So this is running actually through Windows, and it's kind of like a tunnel through the WSL. Something that some people said online maybe to do, and I need to check this. You can actually go to the settings, you can go to networking, and you might be able to mirror it and the loopback, but I found that this works a lot better. So let's actually see if things kind of work. Okay, so even just like basic stuff works, which is really cool. So just to reiterate, just to make sure that people kind of understand, I'm gonna close this. I needed to make sure that ADB is running on here, and I have the environmental variable set up properly here, where I have the IP address. The last thing I also need to make sure that my config has the appropriate SDK and NTK like paths that are on my WSL system. Now, I don't know how important that is, but I think it's just like cleaner that way. And lastly, I'm making sure that this is actually running. I might not need to do it with this command, but I also was looking at this, so you can see like these are the... This is the site that I kind of got the information on, because it was very annoying, and it took me a long time. But yeah, it's really nice. Look at the Dioxus like tutorials just on getting started, because I'm not going to really go over that. But you need to make sure though that you have these two sets. This kind of allows you to run ADP on your WSL machine because it's under platform tools. But this like bridges it between the two, so it's kind of important to know. I actually wonder if it will work if I do that. Let's see. And you can tell like if, let's see, if I go here, ADB devices. I wonder if that will actually work. Well, it's whatever.